Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in on your Saturday at 4 p.m. I just got back from Grandma's house, and she told me to go pick up some blueberries. I'm going to go pick some blueberries out in the field after I get done with this. I'm going to take her back, and I'm hoping she'll make me some blueberry muffins, or some blueberry bread, or some blueberry pancakes with some blueberry syrup. Doesn't that sound good to you? What do you think? But anyways, the library is closed today. Of course, it's closed to the public, but we're not providing curbside service today because it's Saturday. But you can tune in and listen to me. Don't forget your summer reading goal is to read for 30 minutes a day. So if you tune in, you'll get part of your day with me reading a book. Now we're on chapter 11. It's called An Innings, and we're reading Pay Attention, Carter Jones. So let's review chapter 10. Chapter 10, they are all on the Longfellow Middle School football field. And coach has come over there, and they're all the 8th graders over there practicing cricket, learning how to play cricket. So let's see what happens in chapter 11. You think they're going to learn how to play cricket? Sounds like a lot of fun to me. How many of you know how to play cricket before we begin? Oh. All right, let's read on. Chapter 11, An Innings. During a one-day match, each team will have a single inning to bat, limited by the number of overs bowled. An over being 6 deliveries by the bowler. What happened next was sort of what happens in a dream, where you're not sure what anything means, but you figure it all should mean something. But you have no idea what it's supposed to mean. So you're hoping you wake up quickly. The butler came running toward me, and it was sort of surprising how fast he was coming, because you may remember, he's sort of a big around the belly. Then his arm went over his head, and he threw the ball, and it hit the ground. Bounced up, came under my bat, that still didn't really feel like a bat, but which I was holding straight, I think, and hit the wicket behind me so that the bells flew all over the place. "Young Master Carter," said the butler, "your principal task at this moment is to protect your wicket." Yes, said Coach Krosky. "To the death," hollered Billy Cole. "This means that you are to bat the ball away from it," said the butler. "Away from it," said Coach Kurowski. "The ball hit the ground," I said. "As promised," said the butler. "So it was like a ball or something?" The butler looked at me. It is a ball," he said. "No, I mean like the opposite of a ball. Strike, a ball." "You are confusing your sports, young Master Carter. This is cricket." "Cricket is not baseball," said Coach Krosky. "So the ball is supposed to hit the ground?" "Of course. Shall we try again, Coach Krosky? If you will toss the ball back and reset the bells." "Excellent, young Master Carter. We are calling that first disaster a trial run. Now you are ready." "Pay attention, Jones," said Carson Kress. The sounds of high screeching. "Mr. Bowles Fitzpatrick, is the ball going to hit the ground again?" "With precision and elegance," said the butler. "And it's supposed to?" The butler looked for a moment as if he were in pain. "Is there a need for excessive reputation?" he said. I swung the bat a couple of times. "Okay," I said. "Okay, I get it. Let's see that ball." I did. 3 more times, once under my bat, once over my bat, and once in, I am not making this up, around my bat. And every time, bells sent flying. "That last ball was googly," said the butler. "Perhaps it was unfair to introduce it at this point." "Maybe," I said. Your bat must be straight when striking the ball. I made my bat straight. And perhaps your knees slightly more bent. You should be ready to react quickly to the ball as it comes to you. I made my knees slightly more bent. Watch the ball into the bat. I nodded. Into the bat, said Coach Korosky. Nodded again. Into the bat, Carson Krebs nodded again. So once more into the breach, said the butler. And he came running at me with his hands looping over his head, and the ball sped out of his hand, and it hit the ground and bounced. I kept my bat straight and my knees slightly more bent, so I was ready to react quickly to the ball as it came to me. And I watched the ball into the bat, and I swung, and you know what? I missed. If you would throw it right, I could hit it, I said. Young Master Carter, since there are references to cricket in England in the mid-16th century, that is, when the largest English settlements on your American shores comprised 2 or 3 fishing hovels leaning together, I believe I may have the advantage over you in terms of understanding how my boiling is judged to be right. You see how sometimes the butler could be a pain in the glutes? Shall we see if young Master Krebs still has the knack of it? Said the butler. Do you mind, Mr. Barkis? Barkis, who had watched this whole disaster, did not mind. Carson Krebs helped me take the pads off, and he put them on. I handed him the bat. He took it like he knew what he was doing. Young Master Carter, if you would take young Master Krebs' position in the field as a slip. Thank you. Yeah, said Coach Korosky. Krebs stood at the wicket. He took a couple of practice swings. When he swung the bat, his forearm was straight and his knees slightly bent. You are ready, then, said the butler. Krebs nodded. The butler came running at Krebs, and Krebs waited, watched, and the ball came at him and bounced. And Krebs batted the ball way over the heads of all the slips. Actually, he batted the ball way over the heads of all the fielders from the 8th grade varsity cross-country team. And Billy Colt and me, every single time he swung. Did you get that? Every time he swung. Even against the googly. Well played, young Master Krebs, balancing off the back foot and quite upright in your stance. One might almost think you have learned from Sachin Tendulkar himself. Krebs grinned. I saw him play once. He gave me his bat after the match. A noble gesture indeed. Thus, the advantage of 2 years living in New Delhi, perhaps you will be so good as to show Master Barkis the proper hold on the bat, and we will proceed. I guess you can figure out that the 8th grade varsity cross-country team had a pretty late practice that morning. You might have thought that Coach Korosky was steamed about this, but he wasn't. After Carson Krebs, he was the best batter by far. And when my turn came again, he even gave me a tip that worked out pretty well. Keep your hands a little lower, he said. And it worked. Not against the goalie, but I hit 4 in a row out from the wicket. Not bad, said Coach Korosky. You're getting your eyes in, said Krebs. What? I said. You paid attention. The butler smiled. Me too. The next Saturday morning, we were all back on the pitch. Me, Billy Coate, Coach Korosky, and every single member of the 8th grade varsity cross-country team. His practice on Saturday was now an hour earlier, so they could take cricket practice after they ran. And we could be off the field before Vice Principal Del Blanco got on to holler at his football players when they screwed up. This time, we all tried bowling, and it turned out Billy wasn't half bad, or as the butler said, You have a promise. You have a promising career ahead of you, young Master William. He even trapped Carson Krebs' leg before the wicket. No kidding. And by the end of the morning, he even pulled a googly. Did you see that, young Master Carter? Said the butler. He pitched on leg stump. But did you follow what happened next? I shrugged. It was splendid, said the butler. Splendid, it turned to off stump as sharply as you might wish. Absolutely splendid. Splendid, I said. Simon Syke had the longest hits after Krebs, but he got caught in the deep twice. Bad luck, said the butler, but I would put you up first on any team, which he did when he divided us up and had us try a match, even though there weren't quite enough of us to make up two sides. The butler bowled, and the coach Karofsky was the wicket keeper for both teams. Simon signed captain the red team, Carson Krebs the blue, and Krebs put me as opener. He was keystone. We scored 27 runs. And not to brag or anything, but I scored 3 of them. And even though the red side won, because the butler bowled some that skipped below our bats, and he even bowled a Yorker once, we all said it was a splendid match. Really? We all said that. And you know how good scoring 3 runs feels when you're playing with a team of 8th graders? So when the butler told me that night that he was thinking that he was taking Annie and me to J.M.W. Turner Exposition at the Marysville Public Library while my mother rested, a rare and wonderful opportunity, I didn't say a thing. Not one complaint, not one. Not after 3 runs. And not after the butler let me drive the eggplant to the library. And not even after we got there. And Annie rolled her eyes at how many paintings we were going to have to look at. And I said, it's a rare and wonderful opportunity. And she hit me. I never complained. And you know, it really wasn't so bad. For an art expedition, I mean, there were a lot of ships and a lot of landscapes and a lot more ships and a lot more landscapes. And Annie rolled her eyes a bunch more times. And by the end, she was yawning kind of at everything. But you know what? All these paintings had these skies with swirling clouds that sort of streamed along like they were in high winds. And the wind seemed to push the paint around like it might all come right out of the pictures and onto the frames. It kind of gave me chills. And there was one painting with an old ship being towed away, and somehow it made me so sad. Sad enough to hold the green marble in my pocket really tight. The butler asked how I liked the Turners. He doesn't look like he's following the rules, I said. The butler nodded. I looked again at the picture of the ship being towed out. And yes, said the butler. He wants to tell us. A long moment. He wants to tell us that everything has to leave us sometime or other. The butler nodded again. We are all mortal, and that is the way of it, he said. I looked at him. Yeah, I said. I held the green marble really, really tight. Anyway, the art exhibit was a lot better, a whole lot better, than Sunday night when the butler announced that funds had been set aside in my grandfather's bequest for an education in the arts, and so he was taking me and Emily and Charlie to the ballet exposition in the brand new Marysville Civic Auditorium. And so we went, and I won't even tell you what people did up on their toes on the stage right in front of everybody. And I won't even tell you what they were wearing. I especially won't tell you what they were wearing, which wasn't much. Emily and Charlie loved it, and they hugged the butler and then me when it was finally over. Can we go again sometime? Said Charlie. Certainly, said the butler. I think Mom would really enjoy a turn, I said. That may be, said the butler. And that is the end of chapter 11. And Sunday, which is tomorrow, we're going to read chapter 12, the Googly. So the 8th grade cross-country team is learning how to play cricket, and Carter Jones and his sisters have been going to art museums, and they've gone to a ballet. And I wonder what else is going to happen. Do you think Carter Jones will ever hear from his daddy? Mark in your comments what you think is going to happen in chapter 12. And you'll see me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'm looking forward to reading to you. I hope you're enjoying it. I've got to get back to Grandma's house because I've got to go pick some blueberries. But don't forget to sign up for summer reading if you haven't signed up at www.mccpl.lib.al.us. Now remember, we're not doing curbside service today, so don't call 334-625-4844 today. Wait until Monday. And those ladies and gentlemen will be more than happy to get a book for you off the bookshelf. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've had a lot of fun reading with you today. See you tomorrow. Bye.